Students of class 7, today let us learn chapter 12, Architecture, from your social science history. Well, in this chapter, some of the important points such as skills and styles of architecture of Nagara, or just simply Nagara style, Dravida style, as well as Vessera style. We will also cover, maybe not today, the architecture under Islamic school, such as Delhi Sultanate and Mughals. And this again, Shah Jahan, we're going to have a case study on this Shah Jahan, because the reign of Shah Jahan was also known as the golden age of architecture. In the previous class, we have already learned something about this Shah Jahan. Okay, so for today, we will just try to take up the skills and styles of this Nagara, Dravida and Vessera. Well, before we go into the details of this very lesson, let us see some of the important words that will definitely appear in this very lesson. The first one is Havelis. Havelis means large mansions or buildings, so to say. Okay, Sikhara. Sikhara usually means tower, or it is also known as Vimana. Okay, Mandap or Mandap is an entrance hall. Okay, a Garbha Griha, holy place. Gopuram means a gateway. Okay, so in this way, all these words will appear in this very lesson. So let us try to always remember these words. Before we go into the details of this very lesson, I also would like to make sure what a trabeate or corbelt is. Okay, so during the 8th to 13th century, okay, construction of buildings or construction of roof are usually placed with a wooden beam or a white stone slab across the four walls of a room. You can see from the diagram right here. Okay, this is the beam. So most probably maybe a wooden beam, or it could be a stone slab that are usually placed across the four walls or on the top of that wall, which is usually used as a roof. Okay, this is what we call as a trabeate or corbelt. All right, so even you can see from the picture, the photograph that has been shown here. So these are constructed using a trabeate. All right, so 8th to 13th century, those people, they use in building of temples, and these trabeates were used in the building of mosques, tombs, etc. Okay, the weight of these trabeate, or the weight of the very roof, are usually carried by the arches. You can see the arches of the pillar, around the pillar. These carried them. Okay, this was a technical, so to say, architecture, the design of an architecture, okay, which has been carried out by an expert or by engineer at that very time. Okay, so during the time, these limestone cement, which are very popularly used during these days, were used or started to use during the time of this 8th to 13th century. Okay, so before the coming of the Muslims, a temple architecture in India was of two types. The first one is what we call as Nagara. Nagara was very popular in the northern India. Okay, not maybe not as well as central India, and Dravida in the south, so to say. Okay, one of the basic differences between Nagara and Dravida styles were that the decorations of Sikhara, their towers, were a little different. Otherwise, they use the same technique or skills in the construction of temples. All right, these were used before the coming of Muslims in India. Well, let's try to see Nagara style. You can see from the picture right here. Okay, this was the temple of Khajuraho in Madhya Pradesh. It was developed during 15th century. You can see it has been constructed in beehive, a beehive shape in a multi-layer. You will be able to see a lot of layer. Okay, tower. The tower are usually constructed using different layer, which was known as shikhara. Understand? And the plant, usually the very base of the plant, or the plant is usually based on square shape. But the walls were so segmented that when it comes up right here on the top, it will be almost circular in shape. Okay, one of the best example is Khajuraho in Madhya Pradesh. You can see from here. It was built on a very high platform. Okay, they have entrance hall, that is mandap. You can see from the picture right here. Okay, and also in the middle of this area, you will have a garba griha, which means holy places for that very temple. And the roof are pyramidal. Okay, it is in pyramid shape. And they are made of several layers. The roof are of several layers. You can see small layers up here. Okay, so the towers, that is shikhara, are usually a beehive shaped structure, which I have mentioned before. They are either built in granite stone, or even the combination of this granite and light sandstone. Alright, this is all about the Nagara style. And in Dravida style, the towers, they were usually known as vimana. They are also in pyramidal in shape. Okay, and you can see right here from here a series of layers in which diminish as they go up. Okay, so the very layer of the tower, they will diminish. They will become very small when it goes up, as they go up, so to say. And not only that, it has an enclosure and a gateway, which is known as gopuram. So on the top of this picture, you can see the gopuram right here. That is the gateway of this very temple. Alright, and one of the best example is the rock cut temples of this Mahabalipuram here. And another one is the Kailashna Temple at Kanchipuram. So the second one is Kailashna Temple at Kanchipuram. Okay, both of these buildings or both of these temples were constructed during the time of the Pallavas. I think we have already learned about these Pallavas. Alright, and the next one is Rajiswara Temple as Tanjavur, which is in Tamil Nadu. Okay, Tanjore. It was built under Chola's empire. Okay, the tower were, so to say, if we look at this very temple, this tower, they are supposed to be the finest example of this Dravida style. They shape like a pyramid in 13 successive story. If we count it, it will be 13 story. Okay, and they have a lot of structures like the Nandi, and then have a pavilion, a pillared portico, as well as a large hall in this very temple. The inner walls are usually decorated with paintings and sculpture. Okay, they also have a very fine gateway, which I have mentioned before up here. Okay, that's what we call as a gopuram. So gopuram is a fine gateway. Next one is Vessera style or Deccan architecture. So Chalukya, we have already learned about Chalukyan Empire in the previous classes. Okay, these styles were usually built in honor of the Brahma, Vishnu, and this Shiva. So one of the best example of this Chalukya, Vessera style is this the Vishnu temple at Badami, which is in Karnataka, as well as Pattadakal. Pattadakal is also in Karnataka. So you can see from the picture right here, this is the best example of the Chalukya, so to say, temple, a Vishnu temple in Chalukya, of Chalukya of Badami, and it was of Vessera style. All right. Another one is Rashtrakutas. We have mentioned before rock cut Kailashna Temple, which is located in Maharashtra. In the preceding this chapter of this very chapter, you can see it's a unique architecture all over the world. This which has been constructed during the time of these Rashtrakutas. Another one is Sun Temple, which is located at Konark in Odisha. Okay, it is said that it was built by Raja Narasimha Deva. Okay, you can see it's the Sun Temple at Odisha, at Konark in Odisha. And this very temple is important because it is included in the World Heritage List. All right, it is protected by the United Nations organization. I think for today we will just learn up to here. Next week, next class, we will continue with the so to say Islamic schools of architecture, and then we will also include some of the architecture of the Mughals as well as the Sultanate of Delhi, and also we will have this Shah Jahan as a case study. All right, so please learn all the notes from the study materials which I have sent you in your WhatsApp group. Okay, read the textbook, and also don't forget to so to say learn to write even. All right, after you learn all these notes from the study material. Okay, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. May God bless you. Thank you so much for participating in this learning.